In the dark, I plant my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Creating the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. That's it, love in everything. Bring a change, making it last. Join the
Welcome to episode 289 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. The only Pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. Well, as always, I'm joined by, well, not always, but as of late, my co-host, my son, William. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, Dad. How are you doing?
Well, it's been a frustrating day. I mean, when I say frustrating, I'm talking like on another level for your mom for one set of reasons and me for another. Maybe we'll come to that in a minute, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This is actually going to be the highlight of the day. Want to thank Denise over at Renewed Homestead for being our moderator as always, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you would, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Tell everybody we're live, so they can start suppressing us, because they always do, especially as of late. Well, this episode, as always, brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! Okay, Living Soil Foundation. Look, if you want to tip a pimp, you can do it over there at the Living Soil Foundation. We started it to clean up Western North Carolina, and we are hopefully about 2, maybe 3 weeks away from getting results, or getting with Dr. Will again to find out where we are in the continuum of cleaning up a particular spot. And of course, we have some clandestine locations as well for any of the psycho Marchies out there that decide they want to go out here and maybe dump bleach all over one of the projects or something like that. Folks, I'm telling you, you got some fruitcakes out there that don't want to see this stuff work. So there ain't no telling what's going on out there. I want to thank everybody in the chat right now. Let's see who I can actually see with these BCGs I'm wearing right now. And those are birth control glasses. So Mountain Readiness. Hey, what's up? Yeah, we'll be talking about you guys in a minute. Back Spring Mofo or Mofo Homestead Twins, what's up? There they are. Like the earlier
Spring. That says Birch Spring Mako Fob.
Okay, man, with these glasses, bro, you got to give me a mulligan on that one, because it looks like mofo on this end. So, well, this place just took a turn for the worse. Well, anyway, folks, if you're in the chat right now, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Tell everybody we're live. Well, yeah, so we got a lot of stuff, crazy stuff going on around here right now. I'll just kind of kick it off, son, and talk about some of the farm news, but I'll kick it off with there's a researcher out there by the name of Amazing Polly. I'm a big fan of her work, and she had a massive following, and of course, the powers that shouldn't be basically took her down. Folks, I'm talking, she has broken some of the most massive stories out there, and she's something else. And they've come down on her like a ton of bricks. In fact, I put it on my X account. And if you're not over there right now, folks, go check us out on X at Perma Pastures on X. Well, anyway, yeah, so I was wondering, where did Amazing Polly go, man? She just kind of disappeared for a while there. Like I said, folks, if you go to her Rumble channel and watch some of her old videos, you'll be like, wow, she was the one that did this. She's a Canadian lady that has been breaking these stories every time you turn around, whether it's the child abductions, you name it. I mean, she is the consummate researcher. And I tell you what, if she's on your trail, boy, you better forget it. Just hang it up and give up, because she is probably one of the best investigators out there. Anyway, they basically deplatformed her at every place you can think of, kicked her off of YouTube like they did a lot of other wonderful people out there. And she just kind of disappeared for a while. Then all of a sudden something said, man, let me go look. So I looked at one of her latest videos, and she's talking about all the things that they've been doing to her. Folks, I'm telling you, they're doing the same exact, not to the same extent, but they're doing the same exact stuff to us. And that's part of when I said I was frustrated today. That's part of what we've been dealing with. Look, it's going to sound conspiratorial, but I honestly don't care who calls me that these days, but I'll just tell you straight up. And they've been playing with our mail big time. I mean, when I say playing with our mail, like opening stuff up, whether it's packages we send or the stuff we receive, or they put it in transit or it just gets lost in translation. There are people I'm working with right now that are sending stuff through the mail and it never makes it here. Prospective advertisers, they got products that I either want to try or I use, or I'm saying, hey, give me the full gamut so I can test this stuff out, and it never makes it here. Strange. I mean, weird, odd, crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden playing with our bank accounts and, money coming up missing and nobody seems to know where it goes. And then, of course, dealing with these dopes over here at our local bank.
Yeah.
Look, oh my goodness, man. I'm like, okay, is the whole place jabbed up? I mean, what is going on here, man? I mean, it is like on another level. So it's like,
I remember when we moved to Texas and we were like switching bank accounts and stuff. It was like, oh, this is what it's like to deal with a competent bank, right?
no, well, no, the bank, I still bank with this one back in Kansas, and they're perfectly fine. I mean, everything works great. Little small town bank in Tonganoxie, Kansas, for crying out loud, and no problems at all. But this one here that's literally down the road from me still cannot do online banking, even though it's supposedly a capability. And then when you do, all of a sudden we had like, I don't know, $500 in charges come in. Nobody knows where it came from. And then you get with them and say, hey, can you do something about this? I know, look, we got incompetence everywhere. I mean, I'm calling people saying I'm trying to throw money at people to do work for me. And they either don't. The only ones that show up, honestly, are the illegals. They're the only ones that actually show up to do the work. Yep. And I'm like, okay, this is where we are right now. Trump, you might be pulling that trigger a little bit too quick throwing these people out. So it's I mean, folks, when I say it's been a frustrating day, it has. And like I said, some of this stuff is not just your garden variety organic incompetence. I mean, like I said, they're playing with our mail, they're playing with their phones, they're doing all these other crazy things. I'm on a phone call with people that are whistleblowers and stuff like this, trying to set them up for an interview or something. And then all of a sudden we get disconnected. But it'll be some fool calling me, trying to sell me something, and it gets through just fine. How about that? A lot of crazy things going on. So, yeah, as far as the farm news and stuff like that, I mean, I got my head about me now. I'm a little less, a lot less frustrated than I was a moment ago. But yeah, it's just been one of those Mondays. It's been a frustrating Monday, and I'm sure we all have them. So, how's your Monday going, son?
Quite a bit better than yours by the sounds of it. My buddy over down the way, he got some potted trees for discount, so I helped him plant those this morning. Showed him how to plant a potted tree, because the day before that I had just shown him how to plant bare root trees. So got that out of the way. The weather past couple of days, it's been like hazy and foggy out and like 80 degrees almost. And then today it's all of a sudden like it's been getting colder as the day has gone on. Like it was warmer this morning than it is right now. So now we're getting that temperature drop, which, kind of sucks. I was kind of getting used to that 80 degrees, but now seems like we're getting another cold front. And like here in a couple of days, I was just looking at the weather right before we started this podcast. Here in a couple of days, it's going to be below freezing again. So good thing I didn't put out those plant starts.
Right when everything starts budding around here, yeah, we got the same exact phenomenon, but the difference is you said you were expecting the cold weather. Well, here they were, I kid you not, because I check the weather like nobody you've ever seen before, folks. I mean, I check it like a hawk, especially as of late, because I overlay it with what I'm seeing happening in the sky with the chemtrails and everything. So we were supposed to have, for the foreseeable future, 60-degree weather right about there somewhere. And then all of a sudden, cold snap. And then I go to the app and I'm looking, and I got multiple apps. I'm sitting here, oh, okay. And I'm glad I take screenshots of the weather app. When it shows something that looks like a pattern, I take a screenshot, because we got so many people out there with Trump derangement syndrome on both ends of the spectrum, folks. I mean, I've seen it on the left and the right. That's, I'm dead serious. The Trump derangement syndrome it works on both sides of that equation. Of course, you got the people on the left, and then you got the other people where, honestly, the dude can do no wrong no matter how much wrong he does. Or they will not even believe, oh, look, all the chemtrails are gone now. What? It is worse now. I just put up a post on X, and I'm like, is it just me? Or are the chemtrails? Because it's not just me. I'm asking people all over this country, people I know, and I'm saying, hey, they give me daily updates. And they're telling me, and I agree with them, that the chemtrails are 3 times worse now that Trump got in than they were even under Biden. So, but the people with the Trump derangement syndrome on the right will not see it. They actually believe that the chemtrails have gone away. And I'm like, what? Or you think Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to get rid of it if he gets in? And I'm like, okay, first of all, his department doesn't even make that call. This is happening probably from the Department of Defense, almost certainly, because you know what, Doge, hey, if you're in the business, okay, you're out there looking at all these things and you're doing great work. Wonderful. Can't wait to find out what you find at DOD. Maybe you'll find out where the money to the chemtrails are going, or I would almost bet dollars to donuts that money's coming out of the black budget. Now you ain't going to get access to that. So let's just see. I'm going to wait with bated breath because I'm not believing for a minute. I am not even going to believe for a minute that they're going to have access to it. But at least people are starting to wake up. But yeah, the chemtrails, I don't know about everybody else. I mean, holler if you hear me in the chat, y'all, because honestly, I have never in my life seen it this bad. And I didn't just wake up to stratospheric aerosol injections. I know Dane prefers that I call it that way. And I talked to Dane. I need to call him back, but I talk to Dane pretty regularly. He prefers that I call it that. And I'm like, dude, stratospheric air, first of all, that's a mouthful. Second of all, most people are like, well, what's that? I can't even get them to understand what chemtrails are, much less stratospheric aerosol injections. And it's kind of a mouthful. So when you say all that, it's pretty crazy. So, son, did you get a chance to check out that preacher that was on my channel?
Oh, no. I haven't gotten a chance yet, but I was just keeping track of I haven't watched it yet, but what I've been doing is keeping track of the views on there. Come on now.
You got 500 comments.
Yeah.
500 comments, and yeah, only 14,000 people are going to watch this thing.
That's what I was paying attention to, was like, all right, I know this one's getting shut down. Let's see how slowly this thing grows. That is like, if you have the subscriber base that you have, you can't sneeze without it getting at least 1,000 views. And this thing is struggling. Yeah. Right.
Well, it's doing better than some of the other stuff. I mean, they clearly, folks, if you're thinking that Trump's executive orders and all these other things, look, I'm not just going to crap on Trump, but I when he does good work, I'll say so. And when he craps out, I'm going to say so. Unlike the people on the right that have Trump derangement syndrome that will not allow themselves to believe, hey, you know what? He's doing this pretty good, but we're just going to ignore the bad. Dude, you just gave $500 billion, or you're suggesting that you want to give it to a bunch of tech oligarchs who already have us in this digital prison, the very people that are responsible for suppressing all this information, and we're just going to give them more power. But as far as Doge, you've exposed, I'll come to that in a minute. I mean, you're doing good work. Okay, now let's give them full access at DOD, which, boy, I can't wait to see the kickback they're going to get there. But honestly, let's start talking about the black budget. Didn't know that existed, folks? Yeah, we got a black budget. If you think, we're finding out now that all these other things were really just, slush funds for the CIA. This is why Kennedy wanted to smash it into a million pieces and cast it into the wind. And we're seeing exactly how that money is being dispersed right now. I mean, it should make everybody out here ask, why on earth am I even paying taxes? Why am I paying taxes? I mean, first of all, they can print it anyway, number one. So why are you taking my money? Okay, Trump, you're talking about getting rid of, tax on overtime. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a great, or on tips. That's a really, really good start. I'll give you a hat tip for that one. But how about let's get rid of taxes altogether on the money you earn, because that's called serfdom. Let's get rid of that. I know you got to probably take it in baby steps because the notion of not paying taxes is just, crazy to most people. When, like Ron Paul points out, for most of America's history, we didn't pay taxes. Okay.
Right.
We didn't pay those kinds of taxes anyway. And we certainly you didn't pay it out of the money that you earn. That is,
Yeah, it
if you
was
look at
after it
common,
was spent. That's when you started paying taxes, was like as it was being spent, not just because you so happened to make money.
exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how it worked. And then according to our constitution, it should be equally apportioned. And that's not what a graduated tax look, that's straight out of the Communist Manifesto. That's exactly what it is. And I remember having conversations talking about taxes, and it's like people just will dismiss it. But you know what? Here's the crazy part about that. And I'm not dogging Trump for this. Like I said, I will dog him when he's got it coming, and I don't care what the repercussions are. And I have, by the way, it sure is funny that all the people that are critical of Trump are the ones being suppressed on X. How about that? Huh? All those people that are asking critical questions of the Trump administration. So look, if you're not for banning people before, then you shouldn't be now. So all of you people that think Elon Musk is out there, look, I ought to just post a picture of him in his Baphomet outfit.
Yeah.
The guy is not what you think he is, and X is not a free platform. In fact, once again, tried to go live on X with this, and they will not allow me, even though they're taking my money for a premium account, but they won't. And then just like Amazing Polly talks about in her video, that it's like their policy. They give you the runaround, like, oh, let me get to this. You're not actually, I don't even know who you're talking to because you're not actually speaking to anybody. Well, let me go check this. Let me go check that. And they keep doing this runaround. And they've done this to me ever since I posted that video of Dr. Will on there talking about how Western North Carolina is about as polluted as Chernobyl. Yeah. So ever since that time, and like I said, ever since I've been asking, and everybody else asking critical questions of Trump. So if you weren't for censorship before under Biden, folks, you shouldn't be under it now. So
Yeah, there's more banned people on X than there like after Elon becoming like the owner of it than beforehand. Like more
yeah,
people are banned now than before.
yeah, more people. And well, and you look at most of these people, they're all critical of Trump, and they were people that are, from my persuasion, libertarian types or people that were on the right, let's say. Those are the ones that are, freedom of reach, not freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. I mean, that should be repugnant to anybody who values the Constitution. So if you're counting on Elon, yeah, folks, and if you're counting on Trump, well, like I said, the jury's out, but I ain't trusting anything this guy says. And frankly, you shouldn't either, because honestly, if you're in here and you're doing all these wonderful things, well, tell me, why isn't chemtrails top on your list? Just like that preacher said, and this is why I was asking if you watched it, he had said word for word what I said, and he didn't even know me. And word for word was, okay, you shoot at the target that poses the greatest threat. The biggest threat out there is them dropping barium, aluminum, strontium, all these other things from the sky. All you could, with an executive order, make all that come to an end. But if anything, it is worse now than it's ever been. I have never seen it this bad in my life. And even places historically, like let's say Pueblo, Colorado, that get about 300 days of sun out of the year. Go look at their weather reports. Folks, there are other places on this planet that are known to have sunlight all the time, and they don't. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just witnessed a lady yesterday say, yeah, you notice the chemtrails aren't as bad. I'm like, well, and then I was in a room full of other people and they were like, what? And then she kind of recoiled because the reaction was so bitter. Nice lady, don't get me wrong, but people are just seeing what they want to see out there. And sadly, they're in the matrix. So
Hey, real quick, we've got a comment saying from Elizabeth saying you all are not helping unite us by bashing Trump. What do you have to say about that? Like,
well,
go ahead.
okay. Well, you know what? I'm not okay, first of all, you don't unite for the sake of unity. You unite because you're doing the right thing. It's like I was watching this video of all, I guess the in thing right now with among certain women is to side with other women because they're a woman,
Yep.
not siding because you're right. It's like that Oprah logic of, oh, well, girl, you got to be happy. And then all these women were running off with go-go dancers and the whole 9 yards. When you never once heard Oprah say, girl, you got to do what's right. Look, in the words of Jim Garrison, let justice be done though the heavens fall. That's exactly how I feel about it. And if Trump is doing, and I guess you missed that part when I said it a moment ago, if Trump's doing the right thing, I'll be the first one to praise him. But when he steps out of order, I will be the first one to bash him. And that's the American way. That has historically been the American way. What are your thoughts on the matter, son?
Well, like you said earlier, like you don't unite just for the sake of uniting. Like if you're uniting, it should be for like a good cause or a good reason or behind a good purpose, not just for the sake of uniting. If we were going to unite, we could have united under Biden. We could have united under Trump the first time, but it doesn't make any sense to unite just for unification. And you also don't want to be a part of that large unification. Most of those people don't make it. You want to be part of the small group. So welcome to the club, Elizabeth. Welcome to the small group.
Well, I mean, I'm not dogging you for that. I mean, the fact of it is, it's always been the American way. Think about it. Our First Amendment is there to protect dissonant speech, not for the people that fall in line. You know, that First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to assemble peaceably and petition the government. A lot of people don't know that. There's 5 elements of that First Amendment, okay? And that freedom of speech is not popular speech. It's unpopular speech. And if Trump is not a champion for that, then I'm not a champion for him. Because at the end of the day, there's a reason why the Founding Fathers made that the most important thing in our Bill of Rights. And then, you know, everybody knows what the Second Amendment is, but there's a reason why the Founding Fathers put it second. If you don't have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to assemble, that was the most important thing they could think of. And that's why they listed it that way. And then, like I said, Second Amendment was second in line. So, no, it's the unpopular speech. And honestly, I will sing it from the rooftops, and I don't care if I get down to 1 subscriber, because I'm not in this to make subscribers. I'm in this to be free. I want my son, I want my grandbaby to grow up in a free country. I want them to see, it was like Jesse Ventura said, there has never been a time in the history of my life that this country hasn't been at war with somebody. Okay?
Yeah.
Trump, you say day one, you were going to stop that war over there. Huh? Still going right now. I hear you talking about it, but I don't see any action. How about the one in the Middle East? You're talking about turning Gaza into the next Riviera. What? I know that. I know. People are saying, well, that was a tactical move. Okay, fine. Whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't. We got 900 military bases in 130 countries. You know what? Don't tell me we don't have an American empire. The Romans, I think they had 50. Okay. They might have had 50. We got 900 military bases in 130 countries. Yes, we are by virtue. We are an empire. I don't want to see an American empire. And exactly going back to JFK, and somebody wrote something a little bit ago. He says, we seek, this is part of the reason why they killed him. And folks, I'm going from memory here, but I'm going to basically say it. And I think it was at the American University where he said it. You know, we seek not to become the Pax Americana, meaning the Roman peace. I mean, he was equating to the Pax Romana, the Roman peace, enforced on the world by American weapons of war. And what have we become? And if Trump is falling in line with that, or, you know, he's talking about, you know, openly musing about the notion of putting American troops somewhere else. Look, I'm a former American troop, my wife too, and I got a lot of friends. I'm not with that. And if you are, I'm not with you. I mean, how many more bodies do we need to see die for no reason whatsoever than to allow all wars are bankers' wars? I don't want to see another dead American troop. If you want to put them somewhere, put them on that border. Both
Or
of
if you're if you're down for that, if you're down to go fight another foreign war, you first. You go ahead. I
them.
don't see anybody who's of fighting age saying that, yeah, we should go fight another war.
I mean,
It's always older people who have something to gain from it.
I mean, it's young men dying for old men's wars. I mean, son, I'll tell you, one of the most bitter times of my life is when I was working as an electrician at the VA hospital in Leavenworth, Kansas. And I'm seeing these guys, man. I mean, young guys walking in there, man, missing arms, missing legs. And then all of a sudden I hear George Bush at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, whatever it was. Well, didn't find any weapons of mass destruction. It was like he was joking about it, and you could find it. Oh, didn't find any weapons over there. Didn't find any weapons over there. And then meanwhile, I'm seeing all these young guys. Some of them I know very, very well. And some of them very good guys when they went in. And all of a sudden, they are screwed up from the feet up on a war based on lies. And all of them are. Every single war is based on lies. So I am going to do everything I possibly can to not see another troop. I mean, I don't know what voice I have or how far it'll reach, but I'm sick and tired of everybody saying, well, what can I do about it? What can I do? Well, you couldn't do anything about the Super Bowl last night, but you watched it. You know everything about both sides of both teams, but you watched it. Can't do anything about that. Well, look, I don't know what I can do about it. It is frustrating to no end when I see them putting streaks in the skies and then openly musing about another war. Look, Woodrow Wilson got in there and said, look, we kept our boys out of war. Next thing you know, they were in there. Franklin Roosevelt a lot of people don't know about this, did the very same thing. And I'm hoping Trump ain't going to be that next guy, but it ain't going to be because I acquiesced or because I'm worried about unity. It's going to be because dissidents like me are saying, hell no, I won't go. You're not going to put me on the first thing smoking over there. And everybody's just kind of falling in line thinking, oh, yeah, this isn't how freedom happens, y'all. Freedom has to be fought for. Like Thomas Jefferson said over and over and over again. A number of his contemporaries wrote the very same thing. Thomas Jefferson said the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots, and I can't remember how it went exactly in dissonance. I don't know how he put it exactly from time to time. Well, look, I think that tree's been plenty watered. Okay. I'll never forget a guy going out there. He had one freaking arm left. And this guy had to be in his mid-20s. He was working at the VA. He's out there in one of those motorized, what do you call them? Yeah, one of those scooters or whatever. And I was out there working on something in the smoke shack, and it was driving me crazy because I was around all these smokers and everything. And he was the only one left. I guess everybody else went back to work. He's out there with one arm, and that's all he had. Didn't have no legs. I mean, all he had was, stumps. But he had one arm out of 4 appendages. And he's over here trying to grab a cigarette out, put it in his mouth, and then somehow find his lighter and put it all together. And I'm like, I said, how you doing, man? And apparently I caught him on a bad day. But folks, I can't even repeat online what he said to me. He says, yeah, I'm stuck in this blankety blank chair because of these blankety blanks. And what do you say to that? I mean,
For nothing.
Yeah. For nothing. So if Trump or anybody else is out there openly musing about, we're going to maybe put our troops over here or do something else or whatever the lie they manufacture to put some more troops over there, I'm not with it.
They use a term like troops, so you don't equate troops to people. They use these terms or like troops or terrorists or anything like that. They use these different terms so you don't equate those to people. Instead of saying troops, if you said like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put 10,000 of our young men from this country on this border, and quite a few of them are probably going to die, but we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. Or a drone strike just killed, instead of saying 30 terrorists, killed 2 men, like 8 women, and the rest were children. They don't ever say that. They always say terrorists died, or we're putting troops here, or they use these terms that we don't translate to humans.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, and then Cleo says something here in the chat that I was able to look at. Reminds me of a quote from Henry Kissinger. And I quote, military men are big, stupid animals that should be used as tools for foreign policy. Yeah. People all, and then I get criticized because I just happen to memorize this stuff. Okay, folks, it's just the way my brain works. Okay. I can remember it word for word, some things not. This guy was Secretary of frickin' State for 2 different administrations. They all went to him with their hat in their hands until he's dead at 100 years old. I mean, it almost seems like a crime, some despicable character like that, and Brzezinski and all the others. They live these long lives. Meanwhile, the people they put in the graves, they couldn't care less about. Folks, I've gone a little bit sideways here, but look, this is why I am critical. Okay, it's funny that I didn't hear anybody criticizing me when I was coming down on Biden like a ton of bricks. I called that man everything but a child of God, and never got criticized for that. Well, some people did. So, folks, look, I'm not coming down on you for wondering why I'm so critical. I'm explaining why I'm critical. And I think all of you should be too. Because honestly, everybody, and this is exactly what I predicted, that when Trump got in, everybody would go right back into the matrix, and it's already happening. I'm already seeing it. Everybody's like, oh, party, good times here again. Well, have groceries gotten any cheaper? Nope. Has anything gotten any cheaper? Nope. Are we heading for probably a major recession this year? Almost certainly. Is Trump doing some good things? Yeah. But I'm seeing a lot of bad things in there too. And, getting rid of all the foreign aid, except for 3 countries. How about that? And they all border one another. Huh. Son, you want to take a wild guess of what those might be?
One is Egypt.
Damn.
One is Israel.
Yep.
What's the next one? I don't
think
know.
The other one's Jordan. I think the other one's Jordan.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you seeing some red flags here, folks? Yeah, I'm an American first, and I'm not down for. Look, once we get every single veteran off the street, once we get all of these people taken care of, every time I don't see old folks out here flipping coins, figuring out whether or not they're going to take their heart medication or whether or not they're going to eat cat food this flipping night. We get to that point. Yeah, we take care of all these people. Then we talk about foreign aid, including those 3. No, you're not our best friends in the Middle East. In fact, maybe I ought to break out my USS Liberty shirt. Oh, I probably just got us banned for that, son. And find out, go look that up. Go look at who did it, folks. Everything you are told is a manufactured lie, and that's what I'm here to do, is to bust them up. Because unlike a lot of folks out there, my library is bigger than my TV. All right, so okay, I kind of went a little bit sideways here. So, hey, want to thank everybody new coming in. If you would hit that thumbs up, so they can just continue to suppress it. But look, I don't care if there's one person out there, folks. I was talking about permaculture when I was talking to one person out there, and I've never forgotten that. So when I meet you folks in, when I'm at, speaking engagements or whatever the case may be, you're probably going to realize real quick that I don't see myself as some prima donna, and I can't stand the people that do. And I talk to you as passionately about permaculture and these other things in person as I do right here on, behind this screen. So,
hey, real quick, Dad.
Yeah.
Bubba Joe's got a question saying, what is a trustworthy blue blocker shades brand? Do you know a trustworthy brand?
Yeah, I'm wearing one right now, man. I wish I could tell you, but I don't want to give these people any business because honestly, they had satanic imagery. I wouldn't even have bought them had I known. But if you go to Dr. Jack Kruse, Kruse, and go to his website, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of different ones out there that he recommends, or check out Dr. what is her name? Alexis Cowan. Dr. Alexis Cowan. Go check her out. And I'm pretty sure she has some brands out there that she stands behind too. She's kind of the consummate expert on blue light blocking. And really, you ought to check out her latest interview that she did with it was another doctor. I can't keep up with all these doctors, but believe me, I'm trying to get them on the show, y'all. I got Dr. Brian Artist lined up. And I got a couple of other doctors out there that are going to blow your mind. In fact, hey, I'm going to tell y'all right now, there ain't no way this thing's going to make it on YouTube. So it'll be on Rumble. And with the stuff they're dropping, there is no way on earth this thing will see the light. Trust me, if if some of these other videos got deplatformed, trust me, you won't see me on YouTube again after putting Dr. Brian Artis on here. But folks, I'm telling you, it's life-saving stuff. In fact, using his regimen is the reason why. Look, man, I wish I could give you more. Maybe I can tell you some stuff here, but honestly, using his regimen, they've been dropping this fog everywhere. Everybody 360 degrees around us is sick. We're the only ones that aren't or haven't.
Same. Everybody around here is sick too.
Yeah.
And we've had that burning plastic type fog not the past 2 or 3 days, but before that, there was a string of foggy days where we had that burning fog. And I even had like some weird sinus thing going on, but that's resolved now.
Well, I'll tell you this much, using his protocol of the nicotine patches, if you can use nicotine patches, or you can just make it out of your own tobacco as I do, or there's this thing called foreign protein cleanse. You can go to the Dr. Brian Artis show. You can go check it out. I don't have a promo code or anything like that, but I'm telling you what, there was a lady at this freedom group that I attend. She had been using it as well, and she said the very same thing. I was like, man, let me keep on using this stuff. So yeah, we're the only ones. I mean, praise the Lord that we haven't been sick yet using his protocol. So yeah, so Denise put it in the chat there. That's where you can find it, and it's called Foreign Protein Cleanse. And it'll basically protect you from a lot of the people that may be shedding some stuff out there. And also it seems to be doing very well, you know, based on the stuff they're dropping from the sky, folks. I mean, those things are really, really something else. Yeah, Joseph says over here he's cutting his nicotine patches, usually 7 milligrams, cuts them into 3. I think the maintenance dosage is about 3 milligrams. Your mom had on one the other day, kind of freaked me out.
Why?
Yeah, because I was touching her and I came across this patch. I'm like, man, what woman, you made of plastic? What is going on here? So yeah, so between that and what's happening is that these nicotine receptors, this is exactly why people like that polecat Fauci, man, there is no justice in the world until that guy gets tried at The Hague. And if you're taking any volunteers to push the button on the man, yeah, you ain't got to go very far.
There's a line.
Yeah. Read Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s book, The Real Fauci, and what that dude did to dogs and what he did to orphans. And he's still walking around free. I honestly, with the people out there that have suffered, I really need to mind what I'm about to say right now, because honestly, yeah, I better just
we all get the gist. We're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
whatever would get you kicked off YouTube is what we're thinking.
Yeah, we're all collectively thinking it right now. All right, I better go ahead and move on to another thing, son. Here, so Farm Connection, they got their local business around here, and they have a lot of permaculture plants and stuff. William, when he does consultations and stuff, you got to usually tell somebody 15 different places to get things. Well, Farm Connection is one of those places where you can get a lot of it, and they're going to give you 10% off with promo code PERMA, and they ship. So Wave Watch. Yeah, I was so aggravated, y'all. I should have put it on because it's got a chill mode on there, but I forgot to do that. So if you want one, Billy 100, Billy 100 to get you $100 off right now. And then coming up March 18th through the 22nd, this is one of those things, folks, they don't want you to know about. That's going to be the Shalom Temple 5-day immersion event. And my friend Jax, she's over there putting it on, and they're being hit 30 ways to Sunday. The powers, this is why I've been saying, y'all, I think the next big thing they're about to do is going to be of a health nature. And the reason why is all the things I used to talk about before. I'm going to have Jonathan Otto back on Wednesday, okay? And hopefully we can talk between the raindrops and talk about the things that he's got going on. The things he brought up got him kicked off. All those things we're not allowed to talk about in here, things that actually work. Well, you're going to find out, and probably a whole lot more right there at that 5-day immersion event. They also have day tickets if you can only attend for a day or two or something like that. I'm going to be there. William's going to be there. And my grandbaby's going to be there. So, yeah. So I'll be there, and I'm going to be a happy man because I'm going to be in the room with a bunch of other people that are all about not having to worry about Big Pharma. Then May 2nd through the 4th, mountainreadiness.com, and seeing T out in the chat here made me realize that I still need to do that short form. Sorry, my man, I got busy and I just plumb forgot about it. I'll be honest with you. But folks, it's the best festival. If you're into homesteading, preparedness, and all that stuff, it's the best festival you don't know about. And I will be there. And I'm looking forward to it, folks, because I'm telling you what, you're going to have you name any sort of special operations group, they're going to be there. And it's not like this is a guy only thing. No, there's a lot of women out there doing things as well. And folks, I'm telling you, it's the best festival you don't know about. You want to be there, be square. I can't wait to go back. It is fantastic. And I think old Shane's going to be out there with that food truck. So I'm going to be there.
That's worth going to by itself. If Shane's cooking, you should go just cause.
That's what I'm talking about. And then finally, Redemption Shield, 10% off with promo code PERMA. Look, y'all, you want to be G'd up from the feet up, and I mean grounded. And I'm grounded right now on this mat as I'm doing this program. And I'm also wearing these birth control glasses with the red tint on them to keep the blue light out of my eyes. To really offset it properly, I should have a red light going at the same time. According to Dr. Cruz and Alexis Cowan, I should have that red light going. If you're taking in an abundance of blue light, you should be trying to offset it with some red light. I could do that, but it's going to make me look really weird in this studio, y'all. So
yeah, it will. That camera's going to lose its mind if you have a red light going at the same time.
Yeah.
We're going to need those red and blue glasses just to see you.
Yeah. So, it's going to be weird. But folks, I got good news and bad news. I mean, well, the good news section, I'm just going to kind of run through this real quick. There's a couple of them here. One lady in particular that I want to kind of shine a light on. I put it on my X account not long ago. Her name is Mellow Cat. What her real name is, I do not know. But anyway, her handle is Mellow Cat. And she put out this video, son. You got to see this, man. Okay. And I don't know how she did it, but basically, I want to say it's up in North Dakota where Pat Miletich is. And it's one of the hubs, Pat told me, of where they fuel all of these chemtrail planes that are dropping this crap all over the sky. Well, this lady got an interview with one of the pilots, and she just basically bum rushes this dude and starts dropping question after question like, hey, do you know what you're dropping over here? And this fool, he responds with, well, your car's polluting the air. And I'm like, what? Dude, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. That was his response. I mean, boy, she dropped it like it was totally hot on this guy. And of course, X is doing a pretty good job of, suppressing her information. So go check her out, folks. And if you could, like I said, go over there on X and pass this stuff. I don't care what platform you use, but get this word out because she's actually talking to one of the chemtrail pilots. And she's like, do you know you're dropping this stuff over your kids, over my house, overall? He knows he's dropping poison on his own family, and he does not even care. Folks, there's a name for that. They're called psychopaths, okay? Yeah. And just because a person drives a plane, I don't know, everybody, he's a pilot. Well, what do you call a bus driver? Same thing. Both of them I mean, there ain't no difference. He's a pilot. It's just on the ground. I would say
bus drivers even more difficult, especially if you're driving through a city like Memphis or Dallas or something like that. I'd say bus drivers way more difficult than being a pilot.
Yeah, you'd have all the trendy moms out there. Oh, my husband's a pilot. He's an airline. Yeah. So what? Okay, so how's he any different than a bus driver? He just happens to fly in the air. Bus driver does it on the ground. Who cares? So anyway, this other one, USAID. I got to cover this one because I'm going to give a hat tip out there. So I just want to put in a request. USAID. It's basically, I think everybody's finding out right now, it is a slush fund for the CIA. Okay? And they're murdering people with this money. They're paying all of the prostitutes out there. Of course, they're never going to talk about the ones that they pay from other means. Find out where the funding comes from, like Fox News, okay, y'all? That Fair and Balanced. Yeah, they'll tell you about if you look in, because if I bring them up, I'll probably get canceled. So anyway, look at where the money comes in from Fox News. Think about, because I'm picking on them because everybody knows CNN, MSNBC, and all the rest of those are prostitutes. But people seem to think, for some reason, that fixed news is still fair and balanced. Look at that CIA lapel pin that Sean Hannity wears. Pawn vanity, as Michael Savage used to call him. Look where they get their money. It might shock you, but then again, it might not. So you got to get off of the right wing side of that Trump derangement syndrome, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, got a couple of requests. Look into the black budget. Nobody's ever going to admit it's there, but that's where some of the nastiest stuff that goes on this planet is coming from. I want you to find out who's getting a hold of these chemtrails. Okay? And I want you, and folks, if you have any time in your schedule for any reading, read this book. It's called Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. And you're going to find out where all that this is the other end of the equation they're not giving you. Okay? That black budget money, USAID, and look what it's doing to the rest of the world. And then you're going to find out why most of the world hates our guts. That's why you're going to find it out, folks. And you're going to find out some of the nasty things these people are doing. All right. With that said, I got more here, but I'm not going to look. I've already killed a whole lot of time. We're going to go to something that's really permaculture related. And so, so we're going to go to my man, Eric Sider.
Hey, Eric Sider here with your Pimpcast tip of the day. Today's tip, water. Water is the lifeblood of our planet, essential for all living things. In permaculture, we don't just store and use water, we design systems that hydrate landscapes, support biodiversity, and maximize every drop before it leaves a site. By capturing and directing runoff, we can turn dry, degraded land into thriving ecosystems. Deforestation disrupts rainfall and depletes water sources, but strategic earthworks like swales and reforestation can transform a landscape, storing water in the soil and preventing drought. When it comes to water storage, we design for both abundance and scarcity. Dams, ponds, and tanks serve different purposes, from wildlife support to aquaculture and irrigation. High elevation dams use gravity to distribute water efficiently, while check dams slow down streams, reducing erosion and recharging groundwater. Thoughtfully placed swales can extend catchments and create food forests. Beyond storage, we must rethink water use. Wastewater from toilets and sinks can be repurposed. Composting toilets turn human waste into fertilizer, and biodigesters produce methane for energy. Natural purification systems like reed beds and shellfish filter water better than chemicals, and natural swimming pools use plants and fish to maintain crystal clear, chemical-free water. By designing with water in mind, we create resilient, life-giving landscapes that sustain people and nature alike. The key? Work with water, not against it. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Eric Sider, and if you're in need of permaculture t-shirts or remote permaculture consultation and design, head over to ericsider.com. And if you're in the Sacramento area, check out my permaculture community group, permaculturefairoaks.org.
That's my dog once again hitting it out of the park, son. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I've been digging a bunch of swales and stuff like that lately. In fact, when he was mentioning check dams, it reminded me of this consultation I did, and he's out towards like Kilgore, Texas. That's it. Home of the richest acre in the world is in Kilgore, Texas. It's like a bunch of oil there and stuff. But he had this whole cattle pasture. He had like 120 acres, and he had like this 50-acre pasture that is mostly underwater during the rain events and stuff. So I recommended putting in check dams to kind of slow that water flow and spread it out, and hopefully, maintain the pasture that he does have there, so that way he doesn't have to restart every time the rainy season comes through. But yeah, I mean, Eric, as always, was killing it.
Bam, that's what I'm talking about. All right, y'all, EMP Shield, $50 off with promo code PERMA. Look, I've been a journeyman wireman for a long, long time. Things jump off. You're not going to the club, you're going to the house, but you ain't going nowhere if you ain't got an EMP shield on your vehicle. And that's exactly what it's designed to do, is take that stuff to ground it. But most importantly, on your house. Look, it's not just EMP that you need to worry about. Your number one threat is always lightning. So anything gets past that EMP shield and goes downstream, if it blows up anything, bam, you're covered for 25 G's. That's why I reached out to EMP Shield, y'all. Just like all the other advertisers on this program. They didn't reach out to me. I reach out to them. And I don't bring it to you until I know this stuff is the cat's meow. And this stuff has been tested up one side, down the other. So EMP shield, like I said, you find me another transient voltage surge suppressor on the market that does anywhere close. First of all, that even offers a guarantee, much less for 25 Gs. Yeah, if you find one, I'll buy it. But there ain't one out there because there's only one EMP shield. All right, promo code Perma, we get you $50 off. All right,
Hey, Dad, we got a couple of questions. Do you want to answer them real quick?
well, let me just kind of Steve Hall, everything you could sum up everything I just said with this statement. Everything they raped other countries with is now being done to us. Brilliantly stated.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Ran
Sir.
out of other countries. So William Zegley is asking, until I get more animals, is it better to use urine or compost extract to inoculate biochar? I would say compost extract because it's going to be way more diverse on the bacteria. The bacteria and fungi is going to be way more diverse than just the urine. With urine alone, I think you're really just getting bacteria for the most part, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that I mean, but hey, it'd be a good way. I mean, if you had to, collect your urine somewhere, I mean, it'll basically cut down the smell. I mean, according to Jack Spirko, I know he's been doing a whole lot of work on biochar as of late. What else you got?
Another one from Tinfoil Tiara. I like that name, by the way. But Billy, can you do an interview with the Ice Age Farmer? Is that dude even alive still?
Bro, I mean, I don't know, man. You could find Bin Laden easier than you could find that dude. Nobody has heard from him for a while. I was a big fan of his work. It was funny because he was apparently a fan of my work as well, and he was using some of our stuff and some of his things. But honestly, the last word I got from that guy is I wonder. I may be talking out of school here, but folks, from what I did know, I think he thinks that we are on the knife's edge. I think that, and there's a number of other people that I know in the know that are thinking the very same thing. They think that Trump is a placeholder, that he's just part of the cabal. He's just, and there's a lot of people creating good reasons for doing so or for thinking so. And to be honest with you, Trump is kind of not kind of, but has opened the door for people to believe that. Some of these people are like, hey man, I'm going to the woods, or I'm just going to acquiesce. Not acquiesce in that they're not going to do anything. It's like, look, why am I putting myself at risk for a bunch of people that couldn't care less anyway? And think about it. You think I don't have in my base all the people that I can name right off the top of my head? Okay, I'll give you the famous ones. Okay, how about Edward Snowden? Okay, I always thought he got the bad deal having to be in Russia, but I'm realizing now, you know what? He might have got the better deal based on, how good Russia's doing right now. How about Julian Assange? You want to know the last thing he said before they locked him up? And you haven't heard anything from him lately, by the way. The last thing Julian Assange, and folks, go look it up for yourself. Find out if I'm wrong, but I'm not. Last thing he talked about was this dust being dropped from the sky. He was talking about these nanoparticles that they're putting in the chemtrails. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was when they nabbed him basically and locked him away for the most part, okay? That was the straw that broke the camel's back. How about people that were far outranked at the NSA, people like J. Kirk Wiebe, people like Bill Binney, the list is long of all these people that put themselves at risk for an American populace that couldn't care less. And folks, knowing history the way I do, I know historically that you will never find in history, certainly not modern history, a group of people that have let me say it this way, a depraved society that has ever corrected itself in and of itself. It has never happened in history. It has always been predicated by the crucible of really hard times. You can't find another example. And like I said, Nineveh is the only time you can find it in the Old Testament, and they still got dealt with and destroyed. Okay. So, and you could probably make a case, and I thought long and hard about this. The other time where a decadent society has ever corrected itself was, think about it, the Roaring 20s. What happened? 1929 stock market crash. Oh, what did it create? We had a decadent society in the 20s, chicken in every pot. You know what? That was the claim at that time. All of a sudden, you had the Great Depression. Okay. A lot of people don't talk about it, but 8 to 10 million people died during that time of starvation in the United States of amnesia at a time in this country where 90% lived rurally, 10% lived in the city. Now those numbers are flopped. What do you think happens when that jumps off right now? So going back to that previous question, that's why I think people like Ice Age Farmer and a lot of other people that used to be very prominent in this space have gone MIA right now. They basically said, look, why am I putting myself at risk? Why am I putting myself or my family in the crosshairs for a population that could not care less? When I'm constantly telling myself the very same thing, knowing the historical backdrop, but look, I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to not fight. Bottom line, there is no way I'm going to stand back, even though I know that most of the hoople heads out there couldn't care less. I mean, they could tell me everything about the Super Bowl, but you don't even know one tenet of the First Amendment. And I'm not talking about you folks listening in right now, but I mean, in general. So a lot of these people are like, look, hey, why am I doing it? Why am I doing it?
Yesterday, like at church, there were people who just flat out didn't show up to church because the Super Bowl was on and they had to prepare for that. And then also church cutting out early so people could go enjoy the Super Bowl. Like, I think people's priorities are seriously screwed up.
Yeah, definitely misaligned. I mean, I was like, okay, I understand there were some people your mom and I went to a freedom group meeting. I don't know if they're okay with me mentioning who they are here. Anyway, it's one of those places where I can actually feel at home around here. We all don't agree, obviously, and we're not going to agree on everything. There's a lot of people in there that I'm sure, there's a lot of Trump worship and stuff like that. I'm not with that. But honestly, we can align on the things that make sense to all of us. And a lot of people wanted to leave there for very different reasons. They wanted to go watch the commercials to find out what kind of nonsense, or they heard that Elon Musk was going to be dropping some stuff. So your mom and I tuned in for the sole purpose. I tuned in for up until halftime, and I couldn't take it anymore. You can ask your mom. I'm like, I cannot watch this garbage anymore. It was like, okay, I can't remember the last time I watched football, and I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, what am I going to see? What am I going to see? And I'm like, this is the most painful thing in the world to watch. There's a commercial every 3 plays or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I don't care about either team, even though we lived in the Kansas City area. I don't care about either team. I couldn't care about football. And then honestly, if you read some of the tell-all books of the people that know, NFL and all the other pro sports are completely rigged from start to finish. They are all rigged. And when you know this, and I'm like, okay, that's why if I'm going to watch any sport, it'll be the UFC, because the way that whole structure is set up is if you get three losses, you're back to the minors. So it keeps people from fixing fights and stuff like that. I'm sure it still happens, but to a much lesser degree. So I'm not even in the sports. I'm like, how can you even, I don't know how much you think about it. The way that whole structure is set up these days, son, it's like the whole sports culture is set up. Think about football alone. Okay. So you got Thursday night football, you got Friday, you got high school, you got Saturday, you got college, Sunday, you got NFL, Monday, you got NFL. I mean, is there a day of the week where this isn't? So it's made all these guys that should be out there trying to be alpha males. And this is why women write to me right now. What can I do to get my husband off the couch? Honestly, I don't know. I'll tell you what it takes.
Go up to him and tell him, go up to him and tell him quit being a simp. The permaculture pimps told you to quit being a simp.
Yep.
If you have time to sit around and watch some other grown men play a game, then you're just a simp. You're a cuck. I don't know what to tell you.
Why not go out and play yourself? Why not go out and go get a bunch of guys together? I mean, you ain't got to be pros or whatever. If you love the game that much, I mean, you know what? Do what we used to do when I was a kid, man. Go out there with a ball and go, if nothing else, pass the ball around. I mean, I'm not saying you can't watch a football game, but to be this invested, I guarantee I know guys in Kansas City right now that went into work and I used to see it all the time back when we lived there. I mean, they would go in, I can't believe we messed up on, are you on the field, Jack? And I remember when we lived in Oklahoma, OU football, same exact thing. I'm like, man, how can you be this invested? How can it ruin your Monday coming in here, over a stupid game? That's rigged, by the way.
It's one thing if you have a kid playing football and then you're going to watch that kid play football. You're watching somebody else's kids play football. Like, think of it that way. You're watching someone else's kids play football. I remember when I was in high school, they were in middle school. We would get done with, I was doing like cross country at the time. We'd get done with cross country practice, and we'd be walking past the football fields, and we would see parents tailgating to middle school football practice.
Son, I remember when you played that one year, I was like, man, I played football in high school too. I mean, it was a religion in Oklahoma where I grew up, but I mean, and I had a brother playing pro football, I mean, the bottom line is when I went out there and I saw your practice and I saw parents out there tailgating and arguing over what play, what defense, I'm like, are you kidding me? You're out here tailgating in a parking lot for high school football. You are, by definition, a loser. Or if you're that idiot, if you are past the age of 21 and still talking about what you did in high school, I'm going to call you Al Bundy. I remember being in the Army, this one guy, and he was in his 30s at that point. Yeah, I was a linebacker in high school. Who cares? Who cares? Did you go to the majors and the big league? I don't, whatever they call it. Anyway, son, let's go ahead. I want to do, man, I don't even know if we're going to get to it, man. I guess we'll save it for the next program, man. I got these, I sat here and I put it together, survival tactics that, you know what? We'll go ahead and do it after all.
Let's do it.
Survival tactics that'll get you killed. Okay. Instead of going out there watching the next football game, maybe go out here camping with your kids and maybe employ some of these tactics, because there's a lot of groups that get together, survival groups, preparedness groups, stuff like that. And I guarantee the numbers on all those just went to pot right as Trump, as I predicted, as it does every single time a Republican gets in office. All those people that were in these preparedness groups, you go right back into the matrix.
I'll start getting consultations from liberals now.
Yeah, that's how it'll go. Yeah. All right, so these are survival tactics you think are sound that are going to get you, that are probably going to get you murdered. And if you think everything is all good right now, folks, go read the Deagle report and what they predict. I'm not going to tell you right here. Go read DEAGEL, Deagle report, and what they predicted years ago. People like that sold out Alex Jones and some of the others are talking about it, or were talking about it. I'm sure he's not saying anything right now, but what they predicted would happen in 2025. It's sobering, to say the least. So let's say the worst should happen. And you know what? I don't live that way, but I prepare for it. So these are 10 things that are going to get you killed, graveyard dead, if you put them to work. Number one is flashlights. Ask any soldier out there, folks. I mean, anybody that's ever been out there camping with me at one of these preparedness things, you will know the bane of my existence when they came out were those headlights that everybody decided to wear. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. First of all, soldiers don't wear headlights, okay? Certainly not in a tactical environment. So if you're out in the field in a tactical environment, you definitely, and if you are using the light, it's red, and you're doing it under a poncho or something. You don't just walk around because you can't know what happens. You let your night vision take over. You give it time, and believe it or not, your night vision will come around. You'd be shocked at what you can see if you can get yourself away from those stupid phones and those stupid headlights. So,
yeah,
flashlights in a tactical environment, and trust me, if the worst should happen, it is by virtue of a tactical environment. Headlights are going to get you killed.
So when we were in North Carolina, the only kind of sketchy stuff that ever happened where you would potentially need a rifle or a gun or anything like that was at night. And I was bringing it up to my friend that was there, who was an Afghanistan vet. And I was like, man, it seems like I should do something about this gun. Like I should put a flashlight on it or something like that. And his response was like, yeah, but you better get those shots off fast because you just showed them where your head was.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So in a tactical environment, you never use a flashlight ever. You let your night vision come around. And folks, believe it or not, even when there is not any moonlight out there, you'd be shocked at what you can see if you give yourself an hour for your eyes to adjust. So flashlights, learn to walk at night without them. Okay. Campfires. That's another thing. Same reason as a flashlight. A campfire just tells everybody where they can go to pillage. Okay.
But it's also enacting two different senses. Your
Yes.
sense of sight, but also you can smell a campfire miles away if the wind's blowing right.
Well, to that point exactly, that brings me to number 3, which is cooking food. Okay, the number one way you get busted in Sapper and Ranger School is when you break out the peanut butter on your MRE because the smell travels forever, especially when you're in the woods. So you got to be real careful about what you're cooking. You don't want things that are going to put out of air, especially in a tactical environment, that are going to call everybody in. So you want to be really, really careful about that. The Vietnamese were very good about that because they ate a lot of rice. Well, rice doesn't put off the same kind of smell. Yeah, it is aromatic. I mean, to a lesser degree, but when you're out there cooking steak, okay, two very different things there. One travels much further than the other. Drinking water from a cactus. Okay. Yeah.
You're gonna be out there tripping.
Yeah. Well, most of them are poisonous. Okay. You see that in the cowboy movies from way back. You got to get the right cactus, y'all. So thinking you're going to get water from a cactus, and then you got to strip that cactus. You got to take all that stuff off of there. Look, not every cactus is going to give you water. Here's another one I love.
A few might make you lose some water, though.
There you go. Well, that's exactly what they'll do. There's a lot of them out there that will actually take the water from you. So,
Yeah.
or just straight up poison you. So it's not just every cactus out there. You need to know what you're doing. Sucking venom from a snake bite. All right. Where do I even start with that one, folks? How often have you heard me talk about urine and its benefit? You get a snake bite. Look, I'm not going to look, this isn't medical advice. I got to preface it with that. But there's a whole lot of people out there that when they got bit by one of the most poisonous snakes in the world, like a fertile ants, you pee on it, your body makes, now, trying to pee in an environment where you just get bit by a snake, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be difficult. But just like a jellyfish sting, if that's all you got, obviously you want to make it to the hospital, but you want to start peeing on your wounds and you want to be drinking it. Dead serious.
Denise, if I can't get the wherewithal to pee on myself, I don't think I'm gonna find plantain around the area for snake bites.
Well,
If
hey,
I
man,
can't find my junk, I ain't finding plantain.
well, I mean, dude, if you got your junk still left, if they didn't bite you there, I guarantee it shrunk up the size of a cocktail weenie because you got bit by a snake, man. That's a pretty harrowing feeling. But if you can pee on that snake bite, get to the hospital if they still got one. But remember, we're talking about bad conditions out there right now. So yeah, that thing's, they break out a razor blade and then suck the poison out. Man, are you out of your mind? No, that's not
As
the way
if
to
it
go
just
about it.
stays there. As if it just stays in that one spot.
Yeah. So depending on whether you're dealing with a neurotoxin or a hemotoxin, you could just by putting your mouth on it, man, you just got yourself messed up. So pee on it. Yeah, the only acceptable time to pee on your buddy. Okay, here's another one. Playing dead with a bear. Yeah, that works. With a grizzly, for you to pull out on a black bear and he's hungry, guess what? You just made the menu, Jack. Yeah, so playing dead with a bear only works on a grizzly. So, and then by the way, if he's got I don't care what bear it is, if you ain't packing with you want to aim for the nose, they say, honestly, because bears have so many sensory receptors in their nose, more than any other animal, by the way, as I understand it, even more than a hound. The smell of a bear is just extraordinary. So if you get into a scuffle with a bear, first of all, if it's a black bear, and then a lot of other animals out there, let's say it's a cougar or whatever, you start running, well, that they're trained to go after things that are running. So you just
Yeah.
need to be a little bit faster than your buddy.
Who were the first 3 people that found out that you don't play dead with a black bear
No,
or that you play dead with a grizzly bear?
yeah, I know. But I mean, we live here around a lot of black bear and stuff. So usually they're kind of flighty. I mean, they're not going looking for you usually, but when they do, with all this dumb stuff they're spraying out there, man, who even knows how crazy these bear are getting, man? Um, okay, so number 7, moss only grows on the north side of trees. I don't, yeah, that's so if you're ever lost, they tell you, look for the moss to find your direction. Look for, yeah, that's generally true, but there's a lot of times it ain't. If you're in a really forested area, that moss is growing everywhere.
Yeah, and it's only grown on the north side in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, you'd be out there walking in circles like Forrest Gump, dude. Well, I saw moss over here, and then you see some moss somewhere else, so you don't know where you're going. Look, that's not. You're better to have a compass, okay? Or just track the sun in the sky, or figure out. You can find the North Star easy enough at night, except when they're chemtrailing living daylights out of you. Okay, building fires in a cave. Yeah, there's a legend from way back. I want to say at Lovelock Cave or something like that, where they killed these 3 giants back in the day. That's what happens when you put a fire in the middle of a cave. If you are going to do something like that, you want to do it at the edge, but then you just lost your tactical advantage. So you're better off running a cold camp at night. That's the moral to that story. Or in an area where that fire or light can't be seen. Okay, boiling water. Now, this is going to sound a little bit odd. Depending on that water source, yeah, I mean, you're getting rid of the bacteria, the fungi, the nematodes, the protozoa. Yeah, you're getting rid of a lot of those guys, but you're only going to concentrate, depending on how long you boil it, you're concentrating whatever toxins may be in there. So, it's only getting rid of your bacteria. That's what boiling does. So you want to make sure you have some filtration systems out there that, look, you can't get it all out. I get that, but you do the best you can. And then here's number 10. And I saved the best for last. You can't eat Bitcoin and silver.
Yep.
How many people do you know, son, got all the Bitcoin and the silver in the world, but don't have even a week's worth of food put back?
Yeah. Shoot, there was a consultation I did not too long ago where it was either Bitcoin and silver or actively growing animals and produce and stuff like that. There was no in between stage. There was nothing to hold them over to make that transition. It was just 100% like, here's what I have as far as Bitcoin and silver. I'm actively learning how to garden and manage animals, and that was it. There was no stored food or anything like that. And in most consultations, I recommend, unless I know you have just food squared away and you're already way past this point, I recommend doing at least 6 months of the very first thing before getting any kind of animals or anything like that is make sure you have at least 6 months worth of food stored and put back for every individual that's going to be in your house. And no matter where you are in the United States, the longest you're going to have to wait before your first radish harvest, which grows very, very quickly, is 6 months. So that's the reason behind the length. By no means should you stop there. You should definitely continue on putting back food at that point. But yeah, most people don't think about, or some people don't think about, having food on hand. They just think about the ability to either grow food or to buy food.
Or don't get into your stores when you can get food out in the field. I mean, let's say you put back a bunch of freeze-dried stuff, or let's say you have a Harvest Right freeze dryer, which, by the way, we got links for those down below. Let's say you put a bunch of that back. Well, you don't eat it if you have access to fresh stuff you can get out and about. I mean, you use your stores only when you have to get into them. So, I mean, let's say you go out there and kill a rabbit or whatever, or let's say you got a bunch of rabbits you kill. You're better off stewing that animal, eating it over a week than you would be getting into your stores. So that's exactly what I'm getting at. Let's say you got a deer. There's other ways you can go about it. Like I said, you can keep that thing, you can put animals on a crock pot forever and a day. Or maybe it's not a crock pot. Maybe it's maybe you do have access to a fire. You can stew an animal forever and a day and even get down to the bones. I mean, you could even, I mean, there was there's one guy I know, he was a survivalist. One of the things he would bring with him was a little tiny pressure cooker. It was the coolest thing out there, where he could eat these varmints and eat their bones, because he knew the minerals that he would get out of their bones. So he had a pressure cooker. I've never been able to find this thing again, but it was like a little saucepan that he could kill a varmint, whether it was but he ate the bones and everything. I mean, only thing he took out of him was the digestive system, bro. Everything else was fair game. He ate everything. And I was like, man, that is so doggone smart. And I've never been able to find one of those little pressure cookers like that. So I thought that was pretty handy. But yeah, to your point, son, I can't even tell you how many people I know in the preparedness world. They got guns, no food. They got an escape bug out vehicle, no food.
Yep.
They got everything but no food. But that's one of the big things out there. All these people going on, these preparedness people that are into Bitcoin and silver. Look, yeah, should you have those things? I don't know where I stand on Bitcoins, and I don't invest in things I don't understand. I might have a little bit of it. I do. But by and large, hard metals, look, I know I can use that thing, and I know how they work. So, and think about it. If you got food and they got silver, if in the Bible you can sit here and buy a birthright for a bowl of porridge, you think you could shake some fool down for all of his silver for a couple of sandwiches? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should do that sort of thing, but I'm just, as comic relief, the point being is that you can't eat that stuff. But there's so many people in the preparedness world, and that's all they have. That's why I saved it for last. Or they have guns, or I love it. I mean, this will tell you everything you need to know when you go to a preparedness group, and they'll openly boast about the fact that they have no food, that they intend to steal it because they have guns. Well, that tells me everything I need to know about your character.
Yeah.
That is, in fact, I will avoid those people like the plague, because you told me everything I need to know about your character. If you plan to go into mayhem, if things jump off, that you're too trifling, you're too into and it's usually that the types. It's usually the guy out there got the big monster truck, but eats beanie weenies every night. Got $3,000 weapons, and maybe 5 or 6 rounds for each. The types. It's the same type every time. I've run across them a million times. Or it'll be that guy that has his Bitcoin and, well, yeah, I'm like, hey, do you have any food? Oh, I got a week or two. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how
And
that
people
works.
overestimate how well their hunting is going to go when times get crappy. Like, okay, you're thinking I can just pick off squirrels every day and just get my food that way. Well, I can eat like 10 squirrels. So you're gonna have to get 10 of them. Okay, let's say I'm trying to lose weight during this disaster. Let's say I'm trying to get 5 squirrels a day. Can I get 5 squirrels a day every single day while everybody else is trying to get 5 squirrels a day? It would be hard pressed to go outside, and nobody's hunting them right now, for me to go outside and find 5 squirrels.
Yeah, but you're in the winter too, so it's going to be tougher to find them. But the other part of that equation too is it. Okay, so you got the squirrel scenario. I love it when people tell me, "Well, I'll just go hunting." It's always said from people that ain't ever spilled blood in their lives.
Yeah.
Everybody that tells me that is coming from a person. I swear to a person, it's always a person that's never spilled blood in their knives, never processed a chicken, never anything. And I'm like, okay, well, you never took life before. You've never processed anything. You're just gonna pick this up as you go along, right? Yeah, it's called hunting. It's not called killing, man. You just don't walk up there and
Yeah.
you got to go looking for this stuff, man. And it takes skill.
Yeah, it does. And also there's certain things that you would like to learn before things get crappy. Like, okay, when I shoot an animal in its head and I slit its throat, oh, it kicks for about 5 minutes after I do that. That's good to know beforehand. Or like what organs I definitely don't want to puncture whenever I'm processing or gutting and skinning, or any number of things. A lot of those things are just better to get a handle on before the disaster happens and get put back in your freezer than it is to do it directly after. Like, Okay, just the matter of hygiene becomes infinitely more complicated whenever you're in a disaster zone. So, processing, gutting, skinning, processing an animal, like hygiene is going to be more difficult afterwards, whether you're cleaning the blood off of yourself or if you're trying to, like, let's say you punctured one of the bad organs, let's say you punctured the bladder. Like, how are you going to get the urine off that meat? You might not have running pressurized water to spray off that meat.
Good
So, and
point.
then like blood gets itchy after a while. Once it's on your skin for a while, it gets itchy after a while. Being able to shower after that is nice. So, everything gets more difficult once you're in a disaster scenario.
Yeah, especially when you don't have any experience doing any of it. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's always the people that have never done any of this that say, "Well, I'll go." Or I remember this one guy. I won't say his name. You would know him if I brought him up, but it was back in Kansas in one of the preparedness groups back there where he had. I mean, he had this bug out bag, man. He had like fish traps and all this stuff. Ain't never used any of his gear. It's what I call the Johnson County preparedness guy. Johnson
Yeah.
County is like the most highfalutin county in Kansas, okay? And you would always see these guys at the gun show. You could see them from a mile away. They'll show up with this AR that's all decked out. They'd never fired it a day in their lives. Well, you would have those same people show up to these campouts, and he's got these traps. I'm like, traps, dude? What are you after? And he's like, I got a fish trap. I got this. I'm like, well, have you ever done it before? I mean, have you ever used it? No, I've never killed anything in my life. And I'm like, well, bro, why are you carrying around 20 extra pounds when you could have got a fish and some string, a hook and some string? I mean, why would you? He's got this highfalutin trap. I mean, these traps have cost more hunters than they have fish.
How
Oh,
long is he planning on bugging out too? Like, I'm trying to get where I'm going, not set up camp along the way.
no, well, there's that too. My man had a mini bear trap. I'm like, dude, you know there ain't no bear up here in this part of Kansas? Like, what are you carrying around a bear trap for? And first of all, if you don't know how to track, you don't even know where to put the trap unless you
And
know you're gonna
what
catch
happens when you
people,
get
man.
that bear? Yeah. What
Yeah,
happens when you get that bear?
I'm like, dude, I mean, hey man, I mean, you're not gonna figure this stuff out along the way, but number 10, definitely I left it there for a reason, man, because so many people are worried about getting Bitcoin and yeah, those things maybe you ought to have, but I can tell you what, there's about 9 other things I'd put ahead before stocking up on silver and Bitcoin. And like I said, you should have those things, but you need water, you need food, you need the things that get you water and food. Okay. You need to have practice. You need to know because honestly, one of the things that'll freak out most people, if you've never done it before, is being outside at night with almost, I mean, it freaks you out when you jump out of an aircraft. I'm dead serious. When you jump out of an airplane, and you always jump out at night, despite what you see in the movies, you always jump out at night. Not all, unless it's a fun jump and but from a tactical standpoint, you always jump out at night. And it freaks you out to no end. When you jump out that plane, you count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Your parachute deploys, and you don't know where the ground is. And you ain't going to know where the ground is. You kind of have a hint. I'm talking like a moonless night. Your eyes haven't had a chance to adjust. You jumped out of that aircraft. You're out there. You hit the ground. And if you've never done that before, it kind of freaks you out. But as you do more and more of it, it's like it's old hat. You're just used to it. Folks, just try it. Go out there without your cell phone, without a flashlight, and just start right there. If you're wondering, well, where do I even start? Go outside, let your eyes adjust, and see how much you can observe. And you're using your peripheral vision for most of it. You'd be shocked at how much you can absolutely observe once you get your night vision, folks. It's not rocket science. I mean, every soldier, well, I don't know what they do now, but back when I was in, I mean, that's you adjust. You get used to it. But then again, they didn't have cell phones back then. All right, son, anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's about it for me.
All right, I want to thank you, Denise and Renewed Homestead. Hey, keep in mind, they're going to have a processing coming up before here too long, and I'm going to be over there helping out with that. We'll give you the details on that once we have them. And folks, just think about all these other things that you can be doing out there to get yourself more and more and more prepared. And until next time, y'all stay alert, stay alive.
Tune into the Pip Dance. Learn a new channeling nature, let the knowledge ring, roots that run deep, wisdom from soul, permaculture dream, let the ideas unfold. I'm grooving with the truth, 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 feeling nature's groove, groove, groove. Who's got the answers? All we need to do, listen to the earth, they got us through. Let the seeds of change, watch the world spin, from the smallest sprout to harmony begin, in the cycle of life, where the magic's alive,